planned by the pro-Khalistani groups. Barricades and police have been deployed outside the Indian High Commission in London. Those are the details which are emerging at this point in time. We'll try and cut across live to all those visuals and what's happening. Ritangshu Bhattacharya getting us all the details from outside the Indian High Commission in London. Ritangshu, what's happening there?
Well, yes, indeed, Anusha. I am right now standing outside the Indian High Commission in London. It's in Aldwych in central London. And let me just show you, one second, let me just show you the important things that I can describe for our viewers right now in India. First is, this is, of course, the tricolour, which is normally outside the Indian High Commission. As you can see, it's been fastened with barbed wire here to ensure nothing of what happened last Sunday happened and that flag is not taken down. Of course, It's below the other gigantic flyer of a tricolour that was put up in the aftermath of what happened last Sunday. The next thing I can show you is that there is a sizable amount of police presence here of the Metropolitan Police, the local police of London here. You can see about 5 officials stationed right here. And there are also officials across the street, as you can see there, near the bus stop, and more officials on this side as well. So clearly, after the incidents of last Sunday, there is obviously the police are not taking any chances as well. We can also see official of the protesters who have already started gathering here, but obviously there are barricades which have been put up here as well to ensure that there's no outwardly breakdown of law and order.
So, Ritangshu, last time what had happened was that the police was heavily outnumbered by the number of protesters. This time that doesn't happen. Do you see the number of personnel who have been deployed increase? Is that something that they've taken care of this time?
Well, Anusha, there's no doubt about the fact that the number of police or the security personnel has increased because usually there aren't any policemen at the spot here except for the embassy guard stuff as well. So there are about 10 to 12 local police officers. As you can see, that itself is a security boost from the last time. Now, whether that will be enough, that needs to be seen. There's already one individual here. You can see the man in that orange scarf, I beg your pardon, who's been going out speaking to police officials. He tried to heckle some of the journalists as well, shouting pro-Khalistan slogans on camera here. So there's at least one protester present at the spot. But as of now, there is, as you can see, a visible security presence. The flag, of course, has been fastened with barbed wire, as you can see here. And so all indications are that at least compared to last Sunday, the local police and the Indian High Commission is better prepared to prevent any sort of an incident which happened last Sunday.
Ritangshu, have you been able to speak to any of the officers? Because usually whenever a protest of this or demonstration of this nature is permitted by the authorities, there's always an approved number of people which are allowed to gather. Is there a gathering, the number of people they're expecting? Have they told you anything?
Well, I was able to speak to some of them, Anusha. Obviously, they're not, as of now, willing to come on record. I'll try again speaking to them as well. They are saying that they're doing their job. It's very important to understand that their aim right now is not to prevent the protest per se. Their aim is to prevent the breakdown of law and order, what happened last Sunday. So they're here, as you can see, a cavalcade also going by. I'm not sure whether it's part of this particular police cordon, but they say they're ready to prepare to prevent any sort of untoward incident that is going to happen. And they're prepared for a crowd similar to what they saw last time. Whether that will be enough, of course, Anusha, remains to be seen. But the important point is to understand that they are not here to stop a protest from happening. They're here to stop the protesters from vandalizing or assault or attacking staff at the India House, which is what we saw last Sunday.
Usually for a protest or for demonstration of this nature, proper permissions need to be taken much in advance. The local municipal authority asks you all the details, why a protest or demonstration is being organized, what is the purpose, and then a permission is granted. So hopefully, as Ritangshu is pointing out, this time the police machinery is better prepared to deal with any kind of untoward, God forbid, instances that we had seen last time. Ritangshu, many aspects of the story have come out in the public domain. We have also seen New Delhi take a very firm stand and argue, in a symbolic gesture of sorts, certain barricades were removed from outside the British High Commission. There's a statement also from the Indian High Commissioner there in UK, which has come out. What is the sort of messaging that the Indian High Commission there in UK has put out, especially for the students?
Just about half an hour ago, a message was sent out from the Indian High Commission to all the students who are in London and in the UK. And that video message, of course, I think CNN, we have shared it with CNN News 18 as well. It involves the High Commissioner specifying in detail, first of all, the developments that are happening in Punjab, specifying there is not an internet shutdown that's happened across the state. It's only limited areas. And the shutdown is not a blanket shutdown of internet. There are just restrictions on data usage and in terms of what sort of media can be shared. Now, and apart from that, at the concluding part, the High Commissioner V.K. Doraisamy insisted that there were rumors and mischief which was being spread on social media, especially for students from Punjab or in India, to try and make them feel worried about the safety of their loved ones back home. He reiterated that that was not the case. There were G20 summits that were held in Amritsar very recently, and that law and order is under control. He'd also appealed to them that if there is any reassurance or any assistance which Indian students in London need, they're welcome to visit the High Commission as well in return. And he also appealed to students not to give in to any sort of a mischief mongering happening here as well. As you pointed out, Anusha, there was a pretty intense reaction that happened last Sunday after the events, after the tricolour was brought down and a flag of Khalistan was hoisted over. There were angry responses within the Indian community in London. There were responses within Indian parliamentarians, or at least parliamentarians from Indian origin here, which forced the British High Commissioner to India to make a stand. Also, the mayor of London to issue a statement condemning the atrocities here. So all indications are that, of course, the local authorities in London are not going to be caught napping, and that they are going to ensure that there is no event, there's no action that happens that will substantially damage Indo-UK ties, which have already come under the lens over the past few days.
Ridangshu, you spoke about various groups in UK, and of course Indians form a sizable chunk of population there. Some of them of Indian origin have taken citizenship, a lot of them students there. And I had to ask you specifically about students, because this is also a very, very emotive issue. A lot of people, a lot of students from Punjab, who hail from Punjab, who have roots, who have family back home, are in UK, are in London and in different parts of that particular country. Within the student community, how is this entire episode being perceived or being played out?
Well, Anusha, one has to understand that obviously the student community in London is also divided across national boundaries as well. Now, the first concern which a lot of students from India have, especially the students who have come from Punjab, and it's not just a concern within students, Anusha, it's also a concern within a lot of the migrant population which has come from Punjab, who work as staff here and work as day workers in London as well. So the concern firstly amongst the student body is what's happening in Punjab, given the fact that they are cut off they are cut off from their homeland. There is a concern about whether their loved ones are safe or not. That, of course, one would admit that the messaging has not been just a second.
So that messaging has to reach in the right way, as Ridangshu, you were pointing out that any kind of panic should not be made out of this entire situation. Ridangshu Bhattacharya getting us all the details. We'll continue tracking that story.